What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. You know what time it is. It's time to talk about Married at First Sight Season 10, Episode 2, The Weddings. So, if this is your first time here, please click the subscribe button. Don't forget to like, because you know we like likes. All right, let's get started. So, 3 of the 5 couples got married this week, and out of the 3, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Katie and Derek's wedding was my favorite. I know. I gave them a really hard time last week, and we all understand why, because she kept talking about her ex. So I had bad vibes about her. That was just natural. But for some reason, their wedding seemed the most natural. It seemed like they had the best chemistry, and they seemed to get along the best out of the 3. So I'm just looking at my notes when I look down. So they, we started off with them getting dressed. Katie came out to her bridesmaids, and her bridesmaids were very, that one bridesmaid anyway, she was really kind of aggressive, like, oh, you look really good. Forget about him and marry me. I thought that was interesting. But Derek's mom came from South America, and he had mentioned her last week. She came back. They had a really sweet moment in his I guess it was his dressing room or whatever. She told him, how she didn't really understand this process, but because this was something that he wanted to do and she loved him, then she was going to stand behind him and support him. And I think that moment for him was a very pivotal moment for him to move forward in this process. It's really hard to move forward in a situation like this when you know that somebody you love is against it. Somebody that's that close to you, like your mother. And I don't know how much her opinion weighs to him or for him, but in that moment, to know that she's supporting him in his decision to do this, I'm sure that took a lot of pressure off of him, because he's already nervous enough. So we get to the wedding part. He walks down the aisle. People, her family smiles and woo woo, cat calls in the audience. Katie gets in the foyer area with her dad, and she, goes back and forth. I don't know if I can do this. I think with Katie, she's holding on to, not holding on to. I think she needed to see who the experts matched her with, before she decided to let go of this nagging feeling of the ex. So once she finally did come out and ready to walk down the aisle, and she saw Derek, I think that was the moment for her where her pressure was, weight was lifted off of her shoulders, right? She saw that he was cute, and that was the first thing that she said after the wedding in her one-on-one interview. He's so cute. When she looked at him, she was like, oh yes, and she smiled, and she's like, he's cute. Maybe in her mind, that was why the ex thing weighed so heavy, because she didn't want to get set up, right? She didn't want to get set up with somebody who looked like a wolf cookie or Chomper or Godzilla. She wanted to know that the experts matched her with somebody who probably was the equivalent or better than whoever this ex is. I hope that is the last that we hear about the ex, even though she didn't bring him up a whole lot this episode. So she sees him. She gets down the aisle. Go back. When Derek went down the aisle, I like the fact that he introduced himself to her family, and he thanked them for being there and being supportive in this process. I thought that was really sweet. He is making me like him, and I didn't dislike him last week. I just didn't like them two together. I think he's a really sweet guy. I think he's really genuine. He's just never been in love, so he doesn't know what love is. But when he read his vows, I do get a sense that he knows what he wants. He might not know what it is, but he knows what he wants. He knows what that feeling is that he wants. His vows were beautiful to me. To be such a young guy writing them for a stranger, I thought his vows were beautiful. They exchanged vows. They did the pastor's vows and then their written vows. And then when it was time for the kiss, he went in. He didn't kiss on the cheek. He went full mouth to mouth. And she was fine with that. And like I said, her first comment was, he is so cute. So then they go off and they go to, where did they go to talk? They went to the little patio, the balcony of the hotel. And they chatted it up, get to know each other. I mean, their conversation just seemed to flow. They didn't seem to have any awkward silent moments. They didn't have that nervous giggling. They seemed really comfortable with one another. And I really hope that Katie is in it for the right reason. Like, I feel like Derek is a really nice guy, and he doesn't, I hope she doesn't hurt him. Yes. After they chatted up on the balcony, they go inside for their champagne toast. And Derek's toast was almost just as good as his vows. I think he like I said, I think he knows what he's looking for. He knows how to put it into words. And she was just kind of awed by his toast. He won her over. After they have their toast, then they go to take their wedding pictures, and their pictures were beautiful. I'm so surprised how well I like them and their interaction and what came out of their wedding. Like their pictures were beautiful. He even said, I'm loving the way my wife is melting into my arms. She mentioned loving being able to kiss him. She's okay with that. Kissing his, what she's called? She said kissing his full beautiful lips or something to that effect. Yeah, they just were clicking, hitting on all cylinders. So I really hope, I'm changing my story from last week. I hope that they work out. I see potential in them. Can I say that? Yeah, I'll go. Next up was Taylor and Brandon. And I just want to say that I'm still in this couple's corner. Like, I really want them to work. They check all the boxes visually. They look amazing together. I think the best thing that came out of Brandon's interviews is that he disclosed that he has severe anxiety and he suffers from panic attacks. I'm charging everything that he went through that happened with him, his awkwardness, charge it all to his anxiety. I mean, if you think about it, a person who suffers from anxiety and suffers from panic attacks, not just anxiety, but like panic attacks. You take this person who it's hard for them to even be in front of and around people that they know. Then you want to take them and put them in front of a group of people that they don't know, in front of cameras, in front of camera crew. And there's the center of attention and all eyes on me. That in itself, and like I said, I'm not a therapist. I'm speaking from a little bit of experience in that area though. That can be debilitating. And the fact that he went through with it says a lot to me. I do think that he will relax a lot once him and Taylor are alone. So they started off in his dressing room, and when he talked about what he hoped the experts had set him up with, he described Taylor to a T. Like, she is, on paper, she is his perfect woman, visually. Now, they're both ambitious people. She says she's social. He says he's social, but probably not as much as she is. I still have high hopes for them. Even when he came down the aisle, he had a lot of personality. I think he probably has a great personality to get through his layers. He had a lot of personality. He waved, he spoke to people. He went over and introduced himself to Taylor's mother and her aunt. She called him son. I thought that was really heartwarming, and probably relieved a little bit of pressure for him. Taylor was a little nervous before she came down the aisle, but she didn't second guess it. She went on down. She saw him. He saw her. They smiled. He said his first impression when he saw her was that she was beautiful. Now, remember last week he did mention that he wanted to make sure he met her standards, or he lived up to her standards. So let's see. She got down to the front. He shook hands and introduced himself to her cousin, who was giving her away, which I thought was another nice gesture on his part. He's just so nervous. So they go through their vows. Brandon reads his vows, and he says something like, I knew from the moment I saw you that I was going to marry you. And they kind of cut to his mom and grandmother, and they made a strange face. I do believe that was a joke, because if Austin said something very similar in his vows, and if you listen to his next line of those vows, he said, I knew from the first time that I saw you I was going to marry you, which was a few minutes ago, or something like that. If you go back and watch it and see if you hear it, I think that's what I heard. But anyway, he tried to joke, and it didn't land, and that's because of his nervousness. The jokes just didn't land. But they made it through the vows. He even jumped the gun when it was time to kiss the bride, because he was probably so nervous and ready to get up out of there. So he got to kiss her twice. Him and Taylor, like Derek and Katie, went kissed on the mouth. Goodness, what am I trying to say? They kissed on the mouth, not on the cheek or the hand or anything. And they walk out. Their get to know me few moments of conversation was awkward. It was almost uncomfortable for me to watch, and let me know if you all felt the same. It was just a lot of nervous energy. She was trying to, she could tell he was nervous, so she was trying to balance him, or trying to feed the conversation, so to speak. And then they ended up kind of stepping on each other's words. Bunch of nervous laughter. Then there was some awkward silence. It was just not a good moment. I was glad when it was over. But they had their champagne. They got through that moment. They went to take their pictures. Their pictures also were really pretty. I wouldn't say they were as nice, in my opinion, as what's the name? Katie and Derek's. But they had some good pictures. So once they get to the reception, and we find out that Brandon cannot dance. He cannot dance like he is. And then he says he cooks about as good as he dances, so we can see where that's going to go. But yeah, I still have high hopes for them. I really do. I really do. I think once they get alone, or get to spend some alone time away from the cameras, he will relax a little bit, and she will realize that he is really into her, because she did mention at one point that he was so nervous that she couldn't tell if he liked her or not. And he likes her. He wants to get to know her. He wants to be alone with her, is what he wants. So, side note, Brandon's grandmother is a dime. Like, she is senior goals for me. You can't talk bad about Grandma Carolyn with the shoulders out, doing her little two-step on the dance floor in her heels. Her waist was snatched. Okay? And then the last couple to wed was Jessica and Austin. They remind me of a teenage couple on a blind date going to the prom. Like, they were like so giddy and goofy, and I want to say they're cute, but like it could get annoying. I feel like nobody is going to be serious at any point in their relationship. It's like joke. He tells a joke, and then she answers with a joke, and he tells a joke, and she answers with a joke. I hope they find a common ground with that, but I don't know. So when she just in her before the wedding, when she said she hopes that the experts matched her with a guy who was tall, dark, with a beard. Yeah, Austin's not dark. He has like, what's it called? Ash blonde? No, not ash blonde. Some kind of blondish, brownish hair. And he has no beard. He has no remnants of a beard. He doesn't have a 5 o'clock shadow. He doesn't have a mustache. He has none of it. You know who she described? She described Derek. Derek is the one that she probably would have loved to see standing there. But she got Austin, who looks like Napoleon Dynamite. They just seem like a goofy little couple to me. And I hope that they can figure out the seriousness of it. The one thing I liked about Austin, when the preacher said, "You may kiss your bride," he said, "May I kiss you?" He asked her, which I thought was cute. During their get to know each other conversation over champagne, Austin said, in his, I guess, confessional, if that's what they want to call it, that he felt sparks. He was pleased. He was happy. Jessica, on the other hand, kind of was trying to justify why she didn't get what she asked for, but pretty much that she was like, he must be an inch or two taller than me because I have on a 1.5 inch heel. Who wears a 1.5 inch heel? First of all, I have on a 1.5 inch heel, and he is a little bit taller than me. So that's trying to kind of justify the height, that he's not so much taller than her. Did they ever say how tall she was? Did she say that? I don't remember hearing that last week or this week. And then when they were taking their pictures, she asked him about his hair. Like, is your hair always that long? And he said, no, they answered in a joke. No, I grew it out for sometimes, but I grew it out. I've just been growing it out. And then he asked her about her hair, and she said, no, it's usually shaved off. I grew it out for the wedding. So that's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about when I said they talk in jokes. I hope Jessica can see past the physical, because I don't know that she's completely 100% attracted to him yet. But I hope she can see the potential, because it seems like he's a good enough guy. He did mention that his mother and grandmother are very, what was the word he said? Very protective. They're very protective, but he doesn't want her to be afraid of them. Like, it's just because they love him. So we'll see. I'm not making no more predictions. I think I'm already over the predictions. I'm just going to ride this wave. So that's it. That's my review for this week. You guys tell me what you think. Leave me some comments. And don't forget, if you haven't already subscribe. And I will see you guys same time, same place next week. All right. Have a great week. Bye-bye.